Selling your home can be a challenging and expensive process. However, with the right preparation and approach, selling your home by owner can be a rewarding experience. In today's video, we're going to share some tips and tricks to help you sell your home without a real estate agent, and we're going to get started right now. My name is David Matney with Nebraska Realty. I'm a local realtor here in Omaha, Nebraska. Now let's jump into today's topic. The first step in selling your home by owner is to determine a fair market price. Pricing your home is one of the most important things you'll do for a successful sale. You'll have to do some research, and this is really hard to do. You got to keep emotion out of the picture. You want to look at your home and look at similar homes that have recently sold that are similar in age, condition, and features similar to your home. And it's natural to have a tendency to feel that, our home is better because fill in the blank. Also, some things that you may think add value are actually maintenance items. For example, in our market, let's say you added a new roof. A roof is a maintenance issue. People expect to buy a home with a serviceable roof. Having a new roof just simply means you brought your home up to selling standard. One of the sites you can use for price research is Zillow.com. Zillow does post sold home prices. However, you're limited to just the exterior photo of the home. Now, if you're going to sell, you want to play the role of a buyer and go look at some open houses. You want to look at the current competition and study the market in your area. This research will pay off in the end. Another site you can use is your local county assessor's website. In the Omaha area, the site is dcassessor.org for Douglas County, and in Sarpy County, it's sarpy.gov. If you're outside the Omaha market, go to Google, type in your county's name, and then type in the word assessor, and that'll help you locate your local county assessor's website. Now, this website's going to come in handy when you need things like the legal description of your property address. Another option to establish a listing price is to hire a local appraiser to give you an appraisal on the property. An appraisal will set you back about $500. And remember, an appraisal is an opinion of value. Market value is determined by the market. Explain to the appraiser why you are asking for the appraiser to conduct an appraisal. Many real estate agents will offer to do a free market analysis on your home. This free market analysis is an opportunity for you to interview agents if you decide to not sell on your own. Even if you're going to sell by owner, you should talk to at least 3 agents just as a backup plan. You want to speak with an experienced agent. Not all agents are created equal. And remember, agents sell real estate, not companies. Great agents are found at both small and large companies, both independent and franchise firms. This is a business decision. This is not the time to hire your buddy at work who sells real estate part-time as a side hustle. You want to hire a pro. Once you have a price, make sure you price on an even break point. And here's what that means. Let's say your home is around the $300,000 price point. Do not price your home at $299,000. Price it exactly at $300,000. And here's why. You want to pick up the buyers that are looking from $250,000 to $300,000. And you also want the buyers that are looking from $300,000 up to $350,000. This is a marketing technique that will expose your home to more buyers online. Speaking of home values, I offer a tool called Homebot. Homebot is free, and it'll give you a monthly update of the value of your home. There's no obligation, and I'll leave a link in the description below. The next step is preparing your home to sell. This is the time to do all of those little honey-do list of little repairs around the property. And here's a few things to consider. Number 1, have your HVAC system cleaned and serviced by a licensed HVAC technician before putting your home on the market. Have the technician place a service sticker on the furnace. That way, when Dad the Deal Killer comes along and looks at the furnace, it shows that you've maintained the property. Number 2, have new smoke detectors and carbon monoxide alarms installed on each level of the home. If your smoke detectors look yellowish in color, it's time to replace the entire unit. A few years ago, the Nebraska legislature passed a law requiring smoke and carbon monoxide alarms be installed by the seller before closing. Number 3 is peeling paint. This is something that can be an issue if the buyer is using FHA or VA financing. scrape and repaint over the peeling paint. Take care of this up front and be proactive. Number 4 are cracked windows or broken thermal seals. Again, this is a watertight integrity issue and it will get called out on a home inspection. Again, it's best to be proactive. Now keep in mind, you can always sell your home as is, especially in the market that we're in right now. However, when you choose to do this and not make those little repairs, you may be leaving money on the table and not getting the most that the market will bear. Number 5 is going to be curb appeal. Work on the curb appeal of the home. Sometimes you got to get creative. And let's say you have neighbors that leave their lawn a little unkept. Be a good neighbor and offer to clean up their yard. Remember, the buyer is buying the location first, and neighbors who don't keep up their yard will hurt your sale. If you really want to go over the top, have the home pre-inspected. This will give you some idea of the kind of priority you'll need to place on what items need to be repaired first. It gives the buyer some peace of mind when placing an offer. Number 7, if you really want to compete, hire a professional home stager. This is money well spent. Remember, less is more. Start packing and don't forget things like closets. Putting stuff in storage is going to make your home appear more spacious. Go visit a model home in your area and try to replicate the look you see in that model home. Number 8, fresh paint goes a long way. Replacing dated light fixtures, especially at the entry. Most buyers determine if they like a home within the first 17 seconds. So a first impression is very important. Number 9, speaking of first impressions, photos are critical. Hire a professional photographer. Your first showing is online. Even the order of the photos as they appear online are important. When you post your home online, be sure that the top 10 best photos are presented up front. If you're taking your own photos, look at other photos online and see how the home is presented and try to mimic those other photos. And here's a few more tips on photos. All right, number 1, this just drives me crazy, but do not have any cars in the driveway or trash cans out in front of the home when you take the photos. Mow the lawn so it has a fresh cut. Brighten up the exterior with flowers and replace the welcome mat. Number 2, make sure the photos are well lit. Remember, take lots of photos and pick out the very best. You don't have to use every photo you take. For example, sometimes if it's a storage room or a garage, unless there's something really, really special, you may not want to feature that in one of the photos. Number 3, now if you have a tree in the backyard or maybe in front that's really beautiful in the fall when the leaves change, post a photo online of that as well. Likewise, if it's wintertime and let's say you have a back deck with lots of green space and things like that, make sure you post a photo of that as well to give the buyer some idea of what the home looks like during the summertime. And number 4, you want to remove things like waste baskets in the kitchen. You want to make sure the toilet seats are down, remove dog dishes, clear off the countertops, and things like that when you're taking those photos. After you have the photos taken, make a list of all the features and updates you have done to the home. You can use this list to assist you in writing the property description. You can also provide this list to the appraiser when the appraisal is conducted. This list will help give the appraiser a more accurate opinion of value, and it may help the property appraise for the purchase price once you get your home under contract. Now, one little tip that you can do or one little trick that you can employ is with that list of updates, go to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is free. However, I have the paid version, and you can ask ChatGPT to write a property description for your home with all of those updates. For example, let's say it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, fresh paint, all stainless steel appliances, finished basement, and updated kitchen with granite countertops. You can type that into ChatGPT and it'll crank out a property description for you. And just for fun, let's give it a shot. Okay, we're on ChatGPT and we can please write a property description for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with fresh paint, finished basement, updated kitchen with stainless steel appliances and granite countertops. Type that in and see what it generates for us. Welcome to this 3-bedroom, 2-bath home that boasts modern updates, ample living space. As you step inside, you'll immediately notice the fresh paint that gives a home a bright and inviting atmosphere. The updated kitchen is sure to impress with its sleek stainless steel appliances and elegant granite countertops. Cooking and entertaining are a breeze with plenty of counter space and storage, along with convenient breakfast bar for quick meals and chatting with guests. You might have to tweak it a little bit. The spacious living room provides comfortable space to relax and rewind. The finished basement offers even more room for recreation or storage. Plenty of natural light and modern finishes. The basement is perfect as a home theater, game room, or home gym. You'd have to determine if that's true or not. Outside, there is a lovely yard and outdoor space for relaxing and entertaining. Whether you're enjoying a barbecue with friends or simply soaking up the sun, this home offers the perfect backdrop for your lifestyle. Overall, this 3-bedroom, 2-bath home is a must-see for anyone with seeking modern updates, ample living space, and a comfortable and inviting atmosphere. And if you don't like that, then you can also regenerate it and shorten to 1,000 characters. 1,000 characters. And then it kind of sums it up even more. This beautifully updated 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. But anyway, you get the idea of how you can use ChatGPT to write your property descriptions. Once your home is prepped, photos are done, you're ready to go on the market. If possible, advertise your home on the local MLS and offer a competitive commission to a buyer's agent. Now, there are some flat fee companies out there that will charge you $500 to post your home on the MLS. Your best friend is an agent with a buyer. Now, if you don't advertise on the MLS, you should at least offer to cooperate with buyer's agents on Zillow. Keep in mind, the agent represents the buyer and not you. If you can't advertise on the MLS, then at least advertise on Zillow. Zillow is free. And again, in your property description, let any potential buyers know that you're willing to cooperate with buyer's agents. Again, it's very important that the first 10 photos are what the buyer sees first, so you want to post those photos accordingly. Here are just a few more random tips. Okay, number 1, never let a potential buyer know why you are moving. The best answer if someone asks why you're moving is to simply say that your housing needs have changed. Number 2, if you're going to list your home on a flat fee MLS platform, it's best to go live on a Thursday. That way, your listing will be a new listing available for showings going into the weekend. Number 3, one of the biggest mistakes sellers make when they go to sell their home by owner is they underestimate the amount of time needed to sell. If you have to sell by a certain deadline, be sure to give yourself enough time. If you're going to go to Lowe's or Home Depot and buy a for sale sign, make sure that you put your area code on the sign. Don't assume that everybody knows that the area code for the Omaha area is 402. And this goes back to listing the property. Now, if you decide to list the home on Thursday and then you decide to review offers on Sunday, keep in mind, you're welcome to change your mind. If somebody comes along on Friday and let's say they offer you $50,000 over list price, but they want an answer in the next day, you're not obligated to hold off until Sunday to review that offers. It's your home and you can decide to accept an offer at any time. Number 6, try to get feedback from anyone who has shown or who have viewed the property. This constructive criticism can be helpful in helping get the home sold. And number 7, now again, this goes back to tracking who has been through the home, but keep track of who has viewed the home because let's say you're going to do a price reduction. If you keep maintaining that list, now you can go back to those folks and say, hey, we just lowered the price $10,000. So you can notify them and see if their buyers are interested at the new price. Number 8, one of the biggest mistakes that sellers make is they overprice the property. Price it right from the start. This is counterintuitive, but a properly priced home is more likely to have the home bid up in a competitive multiple offer situation. Number 9, the longer the home sits on the market, the less likely it is to sell for top dollar. The best time to get the most amount of money is when the home is first on the market. And number 10, I know there's a lot of folks that don't want to hear this, but If you really want the absolute most amount of money, you're better off listing with a professional real estate agent. Now let's go over some of the paperwork. One of the documents you'll need to complete is the seller property condition disclosure statement. Every state is going to have their own disclosure laws. In Nebraska, the seller disclosure looks like this. All of the owners will need to sign the disclosure. And if you're going to get sued, it's going to be probably over this document. So you want to make sure it is accurate and it is complete, and all owners must sign the seller property condition disclosure statement. If the home is built before 1978, you'll need to complete a lead-based paint addendum. Again, the seller completes and the buyer completes this document. Everyone will need to sign off on this document. If you're selling by owner, contact a local title company. Many title companies will have all of the required paperwork to complete the sale if you're selling by owner. Be sure to read these documents and ask any questions if you don't understand something. Now, in the Omaha area, one form that is required if you're selling a home by owner in the northeast part of Douglas County is the Omaha Lead Site Focus Area. This is a required disclosure informing of a potential lead in the soil from the Sarco lead smelting plant. And you can learn more about this in omahalead.org. Of course, you'll need a purchase agreement. The purchase agreement will need to be signed by the buyer and by all of the sellers. Take the time to read the contract. The devil is in the details. What is the type of financing? Is it subject to a home inspection? Is it subject to the sale and closing of the purchaser's home? Is the buyer asking the seller to pay some of the buyer's closing costs? You have to read the contract and all of the addendums. The devil is in the details. Resist the urge to get excited and not truly understand all the terms of the contract. In every state, every jurisdiction is going to have their own contract, and the deadlines are within the contract. Another document you'll receive or should insist upon is a pre-approval letter or a proof of funds letter if it's a cash offer. Read the letter. What type of financing? Is it FHA, VA, or conventional financing? Are there any restrictions? Pick up the phone and call the lender. Has the lender verified all of the buyer's documentation? Be especially leery if the buyer is using an online lender. You can insist that the buyer get pre-approved with your local trusted lender. They can still use that online lender, but that'll give you peace of mind to let you know that they have been pre-qualified with your lender. And if you need a great local lender in the Omaha area, my contact information is in the description below. Now, once you have a signed contract, you'll need to give a copy of the contract to the lender and to the title company. The buyer should also have an earnest deposit. This is usually about 1% of the purchase price of the home, and it's held in escrow at the title company and will be applied to the purchase price at closing. Once the home is under contract, both the lender and the title company get to work. The title company is going to do a title search, and the lender is going to begin to process the loan. Typically, after the home is under contract, the buyer will conduct a home inspection. The home inspection usually takes several hours. The seller is not present during the home inspection. However, you will need to let the inspector have access to the property. Plan on 4 to 5 hours total for the home inspection. At the conclusion of the home inspection, the buyer will show up and the home inspector and the buyer will do a walkthrough of the property. After the inspection, many times the buyer will request repairs to be done. Again, this is all a negotiation. Keep in mind, most deals fall apart for two reasons. Number one being home inspections, and number two being financing. If the buyer is being reasonable and only asking for health and safety issues, it pays to be reasonable. The buyer pays for the home inspection. The seller typically pays for the repairs. Typically, those repairs will need to be completed before closing, and the buyer will ask for paid invoices. After the home inspection is complete, the lender will require a termite inspection in order for the buyer to obtain financing for the property. The buyer pays for the termite inspection. The seller typically pays for any treatment should it be required. However, if the buyer is using VA financing, then the seller pays for the cost of the termite inspection. The lender is going to require an appraisal. The buyer pays for the appraisal, but the appraisal belongs to the lender. The lender wants to protect their investment. They don't want to loan $300,000 if the home is only worth $250,000. The appraisal is done in the second or third week of escrow. It usually takes about a week to get the results back. If the buyer is using FHA or VA financing, the home will have to at least appraise for the purchase price or higher. And sometimes the appraisal will require certain items to be repaired before closing. For example, a missing handrail will need to be repaired, or chipped or peeling paint. The title company does a title search, and the cost of the title insurance policy is typically split between the buyer and seller. The title company will also contact the seller's lender to arrange for a loan payoff if the seller has a mortgage on the property. The title company will typically charge around $300 as a fee to prepare the deed and to close the transaction. The title company will usually contact the seller about a week before closing to sign the deed set. About 2 or 3 days before closing, the title company will prepare a final closing statement. The closing statement will give you an exact number to the penny for both the buyer and the seller. If you're a seller, it's important that you review all of that documentation very carefully. About a day or two before closing, the buyer will have a final walkthrough of the home. On the day of closing, all of the seller's belongings should be out of the home, and at closing, the buyer brings a photo ID and a cashier's check for the amount needed for closing. If the buyer is wiring funds to the title company, it's very important that the buyer and the seller understand that wiring instructions will never be emailed to the client, because there's a lot of fraud going on, and it's one of the fastest growing crimes out there. So you want to be very suspicious of any email you receive from the title company. It should be sent by secure email. About an hour after closing, the seller can stop by the title company and receive the proceeds from the sale. The title company will give copies of all of the signed documents. As a seller, keep these documents because you'll need them next year when you file your taxes. And then once you've been notified that closing has occurred, then you want to contact your insurance agent and cancel your homeowner's insurance policy. Closing is now complete. Congratulations, you just sold your home by owner.